So, you know what we're talking about today?
No.
We're talking about Mitrice Richardson.
What?
Yeah. No, I showed you the, I showed you I showed you a picture before, right? Like, you know what she looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I think that really helps to have, visual looks at the person, before, when we do this. It helps a lot, I think. Alright, so, with that being said, let's get into the case of Mitrice Richardson. So, Mitrice Richardson was born around 1989 or 1990, and she was 24 when this case went down. So, basically, to give you just a little bit on Mitrice and her and who she was. Mitrice Richardson. She was a very warm, nice, very she was very beauty, involved in pageant stuff like that. She was a very beauty obsessed kind of person, and she loved all things beauty and all that. To give her backstory in her life, Mitrice's father during the 90s when she was born was out of his life because he dealt drugs to do so that he could keep up with the family and all that. And yeah, to keep up with the family and all that. So to keep up with expenses, he dealt drugs for extra money. He got caught, put to prison. So it was Mitrice's mother and Mitrice's great grandmother, raising her. So she was raised by no, for 8 years. So Mitrice's dad was out of her childhood for a long time. So her mother ends up getting married to another guy, and he is her stepdad. So she has a stepdad, mother, and great-grandmother. The grandmother is not mentioned in the story, so I don't know where she, I'm not going to mention her, but we don't know where she is in the story because she's not mentioned. But anyway. So, long story short, she loved a lot of team activities as a kid. She liked cheerleading, going outside, which is interesting from when we go into this case. She didn't like going outside. She didn't like insects at all. She liked indoor sports, like dancing, cheerleading. She liked all these, and she was around this team atmosphere because she didn't have any siblings growing up. So, yeah. Very close to her friends, great-grandmother, raised by these women, and everything like that. So, where does this all go wrong? What's going on? She gets this job. She after she goes to college, she goes into college to study.
It all goes wrong when she reveals to her mother that she doesn't like.
Yeah, her parents were very understanding, and basically she goes to college to study psychology, and she reveals to them that she's gay, which they are 100% supportive. They love her anyway, but they're not really keen on the fact that she goes to these gay clubs and she dances for money. And they're like, well, Mitrice, you can get trafficked, you can get, we don't want you doing that. So, because of that, they're very concerned for her. So, they
should be.
Yeah, they let her do it, but still, they were like, so, what happens? Well, basically, so with all that out of the way, I'm trying to think, and after college, she moved in with her great-grandmother, and she lived with her to help take care of her, and they had dinners every Wednesday night, which is a beautiful thing to share with your grandparent or great-grandparent. That's a great thing to share, and a very great thing. It was all positive. It was a positive experience. She loved going to college. Everything was going good for her. But then she met this girl at a gay club called Vanessa, which she admitted she had feelings for. But because Vanessa was into somebody else and wasn't into Mitrice, she kind of had to tell Mitrice, Mitrice, it's not going to happen, forget about it. So Mitrice is, going down this downward spiral now because she starts to, exhibit weird behavior. And because of that, she just, starts to act weird. And that Vanessa, it's not going to happen, Mitrice, really set her off. So, what happens is that she this all go like over the last this entire like couple days following before September 16th, 2009, which is when this goes down. Which, by the way, the second I heard that, I was like, I was born for this.
Yeah, me
like
too.
like Brandon Swanson, you were born for. I was like way off.
You were a fetus.
Yeah, I was way off, but my truce I was here for. Oh, by the way, this case is going to involve county police. Yeah. That's an immediate red flag right there. County, you can't trust. In the true crime world, there's a saying. You can't trust county police. These guys are shady. They can't trust them. Like, every case, I'm going to tell you, it's going to involve county police screwing up so badly. Whereas, like higher standard police, like LA, all of them, they're going to really pull their weight. But county, they can't trust them. Like, I'm going to tell you what happens with police. Like, this is, yeah. So, basically, the days leading up to September 16th, she starts to really exhibit weird behavior. She writes on Facebook, like, I have connections to the government, and my mother is Mother Nature, and all this crazy stuff. And she also says, she then sends, like, a long text to her mother one day, saying, you told me I can be beautiful, you told me I could be this, I could be the next Miss America, but I'm gonna be more than that. Like, it's just this weird crap, this weird, I'm not gonna curse, because we have not earned that yet. I think we're gonna earn cursing 10 minutes into this video, and we're at 6 minutes right now. 10 minutes, we're gonna earn cursing. Okay?
It's very weird shit.
And you just broke that rule. Damn it. Okay, I don't. It's fine. All right, this is a true crime podcast, and you can't. And plus, and when we get into county, you can't. When you talk about county too, which we're gonna talk about during this case, you can't cuss. You can't not cuss out county. Like, it's just gonna happen. So, anyway, we get she just starts exhibiting weird behavior. Her friends are really concerned. Her mother's not totally clued in on this, and her great grandmother not either, because her great grandmother's like 90-something years old at this time. Like, she's 91, I think. Like, she's old. She's just like, Mitrice is living with me, and she cares about, like, she's so clueless to what's going on.
Is the grandma still alive?
I don't think now. It's been, like, she's been, like, this case happened, like, 13 years ago. Like, no, if she was 91 13 years ago, she's probably not alive.
Oh.
But, yeah. Anyway, so September 16th, she goes to her job in the morning. She works at a store, I think, a dollar store. And around lunchtime, when she's supposed to clock back in after her lunch, her coworkers and boss can't find her anywhere. They're like, where did Mitrice go?
Yeah.
What the hell had just happened? Like, that's what, like, what?
Makes sense.
Like, they're just like, what? So, that happened.
Yeah.
And then later in that day, she goes to her great-grandmother's house where they're supposed to have dinner every Wednesday. She tells her great-grandmother, for an unexplained reason, I can't have dinner with you, and leaves the house. And her great-grandmother, after the case would be investigated and interviewing her, she said that Mitrice was usually very talkative, very social, very warm. This seemed off because she came in the house, said, hey, can I have dinner with you? I'm sorry.
Very interesting and kind of weird, honestly.
Didn't give an explanation.
That's very weird.
And yeah, just that was it. So with that,
any of them heard of her?
What?
That was the last time any of them heard of her?
Oh, well, no. This case had a lot of, like, that's just that's like the tip at beginning of the case. This gets crazy. So, she proceeds to drive 30 miles down to Malibu, California. Malibu. And it takes her about an hour to get there. She gets there around 7:30 p.m. And she goes to this restaurant in Malibu called Joffrey's, which is a very expensive restaurant. And so the first weird interaction that something was really wrong with her, like something's off here, is she goes in the valet parking garage, and she goes to and she's in line to get her car parked, and when the valet guy goes to park the car in front of hers, he comes back, and he finds Mitrice sitting in his own personal car.
Wow.
Just, like, sitting there, like, looking up in nowhere. So, obviously, if you see a random woman sitting in your car, he walks up to her and rationally, he's like, lady, what are you doing in my car? Like, that's the natural reaction you're gonna have if some stranger lady, who, by the way, is staring up into nothing, like, not like she's, like, doing anything, like, she's, like, calling somebody how to get out of the air, like, no, she was, like, looking, like, up into space. And he's like, man, what are you doing in my car? And apparently, according to him, she turns to him and responds in this jumbled mixture of words that don't make sense. So he's like, now you think that'd be a red flag, like she's on something, no, she's like, the guy's like, you know what, she just needs to go in the restaurant. This is 2009 we're talking about. We're in the 20th century. We should not be questioning this kind of stuff, but we are. That is just the first instance of Mitrice acting weird and nobody doing anything about it. So then, he escorts her himself into the restaurant, and they go in. She checks in, gets a table, and she orders a lot of stuff. Like, she orders, like, a cocktail, wine, like, she gets a lot. Very expensive meal. And her bill ends up being $89 in all. But anyway.
That's not that bad.
Well, yeah, for Joffrey's, like, that restaurant's expensive. That wasn't that bad. But
that's not bad. Really.
What's weird, too, is that this is a very nice restaurant. And she went here alone. She wasn't meeting anyone. But what's even weirder is that when you go in the fancy restaurant, you look nice, like you dress up. She was wearing, like, black shirt and jeans, like very everyday street clothes, which already looked odd. But then, as she sits down and waits for her food, odd behavior is clocked from several witnesses. She's apparently going up to people's tables, pulling up chairs, disrupting people's conversations, and saying stuff like, "My mother's Mother Nature. Did you know that? I'm from Mars." All this crazy... Has it been 10 minutes? Yes. All this crazy shit.
Damn.
She's like, what? Yeah. Every single table, she pulls up a chair and says this stuff. I think she said, like, did you know that my car can fly? Or, like, this crazy shit. Like, insane stuff. Like, it sounds like she's on drugs. So anyway, if that didn't weird people enough... When she goes up to pay, because management's kind of latching onto her, because as she goes up to get up to leave, she doesn't pay her bill, $89, and well, that's really strange. What the hell? Like, that's like what? Like that's her like, oh my god. So because of that, they're like, everyone's in awe of this. Like, they're like, what the hell is happening? She goes, like, she's leaving, and she's pleading with them, like she's trying to leave. And they're like, ma'am, you have to pay your bill. You're not walking out until you pay your $89. And the management can sense something's off with her, so they call the police. And we have a recording of that call, of management calling the police, which kind of gives you a time frame of when Mitrice was still in that restaurant. So we're going to actually... give a little bit of a listen here, because hopefully I can get it up. It's gonna take a couple seconds. I'm trying to find it, but we're gonna find it.
It's interesting that they have actual like
audio
recording of this.
Audio, yeah, we have audio.
Well, like not Brian.
Yeah. I'm trying to like.
Ryan Swanson sounds like a guy whose parents loved watching Family Guy.
I'm just trying to, like, find the video. I think this could be it. Alright, so I'm trying to see if there's recording. If it records, we can do it. Because I can't find, like, there was a video I found that had all the recordings. I can't find it. Not for the life of me. So,
yeah.
What the hell? I'm just trying to find the recording. I don't know why I can't, like, I found it, I thought, like, okay, no, this guy's just, like, he's just, like, what the hell? Okay, hold on. Mitrice, someone call audio. No. That's really interesting. It's not... Could it be this video? I'm trying here, people. Like, I'm trying to find...
What is that?
Well, I'm trying to find... It's just an interview with the father. This is really weird. I cannot find audio. No, I want to try to bring up audio because that is such a major part of this case. Okay. I'm trying to see. Hold on. I'm sorry it's taking so long. I thought he had audio, so it's not letting me get audio. So, got an idea. Joe, do you have any device near you can bring up audio on?
No.
You don't? Alright, I'm gonna try to see if I can do it with this.
Hi, I'm calling from Joffrey's restaurant in Malibu.
Yeah.
We have a guest here who is refusing to pay her bill, and we think she sounds really crazy. She may be on drugs or something. We were wondering if someone could come by and pick her up.
Okay, well, what's the address there?
It's 27400 Pacific Coast Highway.
And is she a white, black, Asian, Hispanic?
She's young black girl. She's probably in her 20s.
Okay, what's she wearing?
She's wearing a black T-shirt and I think blue jeans.
Is she with anybody else?
No, it's just her.
Alright, so I just showed you that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you heard it. Like, what'd you think? I just showed him, guys, the first phone call of... Like, you guys can search up on Google if you want. The first phone call of management calling the cops. So...
Oh, boy, I am blown off of my ass.
That is...
My ass has been blown.
Yeah.
It's bleeding.
Like, you could, like, that gives us a time frame of when Mitrice was still in the restaurant. So...
Yeah.
What happened? Well, so basically they called it, like you heard in the video, they called the cops, and they come out and they come to the restaurant and they take her outside. They give her a sobriety test, which they do find alcohol in her system, but she passes it. So they're like, well, she might just be acting weird, but they search her car anyway, and they find weed. So that's enough to bring her in. And they find, but here's the thing though, they tow her car, right, with all her possessions still inside. They don't take out any of her possessions, not her phone, not her wallet, not her car keys,
Makes
nothing.
Sense.
They just tow her car. But usually you're supposed to take those things. Like, you're supposed to take those things out of the car. They don't do that. And then, like, you're supposed to take them to a hospital for a sobriety test, for a proper thing, to just get her checked out, because she passed the sobriety test. But if someone's not okay, you should take them to the hospital. They don't do that. They just take her in. And people think that this could have been, like, the part where, like, it tells you, alright, this is racially motivated. Because she was a young black girl, you know. They don't, like, that was weird.
Oh.
But anyway, they take her into custody, and she gets a booking photo that night. Which, by the way, looks creepy because she doesn't look well. It doesn't look like her. Like, you saw her. I'm not sure if you saw the booking photo. She looks so different.
Let me look up booking photo.
Yeah, Mitrice Richardson booking photo.
I looked her up.
I mean, like, she looked pretty nice, like, in all his photos, but that photo, she looks so unwell.
Oh.
Like, you see her, right? Like, she...
Yeah, she's like, wow.
Like, she looks very, like, she does not look good. Like, she looks very unwell.
Oh, I think I just spoiled myself the entire story.
Oh, no, get off.
I just got spoiled the entire story.
Get off, quickly, get off.
I guess that's, oh.
But you saw her, right, though?
Yeah.
So anyway...
Well.
So anyway, then, so basically, did you see anything important, or, like, did you click out of it? You don't have to reveal it, like.
Well, let's continue with the story and see if you surprise me.
Alright, so anyway, well, I might surprise you, because there's a lot, like, you still probably don't know. So anyway, so, they get her booking photo, they put her in a cell, and they have cameras in this police station.
Like daughter, like father, like daughter.
Yeah, they have cameras in this police station where they said later in investigating that these cameras were for monitoring only, right? That would be a lie. They have recordings. They lied. Like, and we'll get to that a little later, but just want to point that out. So, they towed her car with, again, all of her possessions still inside. They never took them to the police station, nothing. Her car was towed to a lot in the middle of Malibu with everything inside. Again. And they put her in a cell and they left her there. Like, what? Like, and now while in the restaurant, management did give me Mitrice before they called the cops, like, do you have a family member that you can call that, like, cover the tab, or, like, and people around the restaurant are pitching in to help, but the management's like, hold on, let's deal with it, like, and, like, is there anyone you can call from your family or friend that can, like, cover your tab, pick you up? So she calls her great-grandmother and tells her, I'm in this restaurant in Malibu, like, I'm being taken into custody, all this stuff. And her 91-year-old something grandmother is poor woman so confused. She's like, wait, what? Because she can't do this over the phone. She's 91 years old. She can't pay this bill over, like, she has to do it in person. Like, she doesn't know what's going on. So, but what that does do, what the great-grandmother does do is she calls Mitrice's mother about, like, she's getting taken into custody, and that's how she gets clued on everything about this case. Her mother was clued. Her mother didn't even know by then that she was taken into custody, never mind in Malibu. But her great-grandmother calls her and says, listen, I got word from, like, police, like, management that, like, they call, like, you know, what's, like, Mitrice, she says, like, she's getting custody, and she's in Malibu, like, what the hell is going, so, yeah. But that causes her mother, I think her name is Letitia or something like that, Letitia Hushkin, like, I don't know her name, it's kind of unclear, because the audio sounds a little, we're gonna play that audio. There's an audio of her, like, first off, her mother calls the restaurant, Joffrey's, and they tell her, ma'am, you just missed your daughter. African-American, yeah, she just taken into custody. So she's very confused. Letitia, like, that's her mother's name, Letitia. Letitia's very confused. She's like, what's my what? So out of character. So she calls the cops, and we have a recording of that call as well. And this is really creepy, because she makes a joke on this call. Because this call doesn't sound very serious. Like, girl, listen. Like, this girl got taken into custody. Like, she, like, all this strange behavior. It doesn't seem serious, though, between the mother and this officer. Now, I'll also say one more thing. They make a joke during this call that after, like, later into the case, it's really creepy. Like, it becomes, like, yeah. So I'm gonna play now. So guys, I'm gonna play the call, and then Joe's gonna listen to the call, and then we'll get his reaction and continue telling the story.
I'm a little frazzled right now. I understand my daughter is being brought into the station. Mitrice Richardson, have they made it to the station yet? And she's been booked.
Okay, do you know where she's coming from?
It's some restaurant out in Malibu, and I didn't even think to get the name. The manager's name is...
The only place we have somebody that's in custody that they just announced on the radio that they're coming up is from Joffrey's in Pacific Coast Highway. It's the only female that's being brought up to the station as we speak. They actually just put it on the radio right before you called.
Okay. I'm her mother, and are you guys going to book her and then release her on her own recognizance tonight, because it's dark, she doesn't have a car, and I don't want her wandering out. I'm totally just taken aback, because this is so out of character for her, and you'll see when she comes in, she's well-spoken. I think the only way I will come and get her tonight is if you guys are going to release her tonight. going to be held in custody for some type of arraignment tomorrow, then I will wait until tomorrow. She definitely has no place, I mean, she's not from that area, and I would hate to wake up to a morning report, girl lost somewhere with her head chopped off, so I guess I would have to come and get her. Oh, my God.
Yeah, we're in Agoura Hills. The only thing is, at least in the station here, she will be separated, so nobody's going to be with her. So at least that's, the plus thing, so you don't have to worry about her safety.
No, I feel safe with her being in custody. It's being released, but I'm worried about it. It's crazy out here. All righty. Well, then I will more than likely call and touch bases with you guys a little bit later.
All right, guys, so Joe just reacted to that first phone call with the mother. What'd you think?
I thought that was very interesting.
But you it didn't seem serious though. Like they were joking. Like it didn't really.
It looked like everyone was joking.
Yeah, this is her child in Malibu, missing.
Maybe
what the hell?
Cared.
Maybe the
mom acted like she cared, but maybe she didn't.
I don't know, because her mother seemed to care. We're gonna get into that second recording. But anyway, just to give you a little more, she's at the station. Oh, her stepfather is in the same, because her mother lives a couple minutes away from her great grandmother where she was staying at. They live very close together. So her mother and her stepfather are at their own house, and her mother and her stepfather's near the phone probably. He's probably in on this too. Like he's listening with her, while his wife is calling about Mitrice and all this. You heard her on the phone. He's there too. He's just not on the call. So anyway, she's in custody. But then, we're rolling around midnight now. The police, a group of officers, county police, say 12, she's an adult, 12, that she's perfectly fine, and they let her go. They let her leave the station. Let me remind you, she was acting weird. There was weed in her car. Whole list of events before this day, they let her go without her phone, her car key, car, nothing. And you heard the mother on the phone call. I don't want my daughter wandering out at night. They let her go in the dark without anything. I cannot tell you how long that's how the mishandlings this case has. That is crazy as shit to me. And we earned that. Yeah. So, now we're going to listen to, this is the next day, because you heard her mother was you heard it, they said, we're going to hold your daughter until the morning, and you can go pick her up. But they let her go, they lied. So, let's listen to now Joe's going to react now, guys, to the mother, call, her second call now, back to police, and then we'll get back to you.
I thought they were going to keep her overnight because she was highly intoxicated.
Mm-hmm.
Something is obviously going on with her.
Have you talked to the jailer?
Yes, I have. He said he tried to get her to stay, but because she was an adult, they had to let her go. I believe that she is highly depressed, and she's in a depressive state.
It could be possible that maybe there's a lot of options and a lot of possibilities, and I don't think all of them would be, something dire. But I can certainly understand your fears, being your daughter and all that.
Well, I think she's depressed. That's what has me more.
That's worried you more than just her? Okay.
That and the fact that she's in an area where she doesn't know where she's at.
Yeah. Does she take medication at all?
No, I believe it's a state that she's in right now because of just the weird activities that's been going on.
What's her name? What's her name?
Her name is Mitrice Richardson.
Okay, and your name, ma'am?
Mitrice.
Okay, Mitrice. Here's what I want you to do. Why don't you wait a couple hours and give us some time to I'll go back and talk to the jailer and try and get a timeline of when she was released and, make sure she's not asleep in our lobby or anything like that. And then once you give us a call back in a couple hours, if she hasn't shown up or made contact with you, then maybe we can do something for you.
All right, guys, so Joe just reacted to the record, the second call now. What's your reaction to that?
I think, yeah.
Mother seems very upset. Like, she was very upset with them. They lied to her. And now, and what I think is really upsetting, too, is that he's like, she's telling her, like, she's depressed. And he's like, oh, well, it could be medication. She's like, no, she doesn't take medication. He's like, wait, what's her name? Like, the lack of care is bullshit with this case. It is so sad. So now we're going to get into the end of the case now. By morning, she's spotted. Now, because she was missing all night, she filed. So after, in the morning, she doesn't hear, Letitia doesn't hear about her daughter. She calls the station. That's where that call comes from. She calls the station. She has to wait 24 hours to mark her as missing. By morning, though, she's spotted in the backyard of somebody's home in the hills of Calabasas. In the backyard, she's spotted on the back porch of somebody's steps sleeping. Now, we have a recording of that call, but it's significantly shorter. Like, it's like not even a minute, I think. So, we'll quickly play that call, and then we're going to end the case. We'll finish off telling you the case. So, Joe's not going to react to that call, and we'll get back to you right after.
Well, Sheriff Station Office, can I help you?
Yeah, hi. Hey, this is Smith at Cold Canyon. We had a prowler walking around through the backyard here, but we don't know what the situation was. I don't know if you had a unit in the area. It might do a little drive-by or something.
Okay, where's this at?
This is Cold Canyon, like hot and cold in Montecito. But it's in the back of the house, which is right where Wood Bluff hits Cold Canyon. And we just had a strange woman walking through the backyard here. It's a fairly large property, and she was sitting on the steps right on the back of the house here. This is kind of a circular driveway, and the gates were closed, so we don't know where this woman came from.
You said the cross was Wood Bluff?
Yeah, that's right. There's a horse trail, hiking trail access through here, but we've never had this kind of thing happen before.
What'd she look like? White, black, Hispanic?
A tall, slim, black woman with afro hair.
About how tall?
Well, she was sitting down, stretched out on the wooden steps in the back of the house. Hard to tell, but she looked like she might have been medium to slightly tall, with a big afro hair, very skinny. And I think she was wearing maybe jeans or tight pants with a T-shirt.
You've never seen her there before?
No, never. Nobody ever does that. I mean, the people hike on the trail all the time. The trail goes through our property, but we leave it open on purpose because it's kind of a nice thing for horses and people.
And you said she was laying across the steps, or?
She was sitting kind of sprawled out on these wooden steps in the back of the house, right against the back of the house.
She's since got up and left?
She's since gone, yeah. She's been gone about 5 minutes now, but as we thought it over, we thought maybe a little drive-by wouldn't be a bad idea.
And what direction was she last seen headed?
Never saw her. Once she left, she just disappeared. I moved from one window to another. I said to her, I hollered down, "Are you all right?" And she said, "I'm just resting," or something like that. But she's certainly gone out of her way to get that close to the house, because the hiking trail is not that close. It's on the ridge.
All right, well, since we go ahead and check the area for her.
Appreciate that very much.
Not a problem, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that was Joe's reaction to the fourth recording. So what was your reaction, first of all, to it? Like, hearing that? Like, her sighting that morning, like...
The guy might be a little racist, maybe?
Well, I mean, he did sound a little, like, he sounded pretty... Yeah. Very like he was pissed off. Anyway, yeah, like he said, though, he spotted her on the porch sleeping, he hollered out to her, and he turned around with this bewildered look and was like, "I'm just resting." And again, by the time he got there, by the time police got there, she was gone. And this would be the last sighting of Mitrice Richardson alive that we know of, because here's the latter part of this case. Basically, they track her scent off the property, and you're thinking, by the time, she was walking all night, just how did she end up from the police station in Malibu to the hills of Calabasas in this random home? She pretty far on foot. She has to be tired by now. No water, no food. She couldn't have gone much further. And they search. 100 volunteers come out now. She's a missing person. Her mother marks it down. All this stuff happens. And get this. So basically, they go up to the area where this was. They found on rocks racist messages written. But that's it. They never found anything. Her scent led off the property. It really was. So anyway, there is the Vegas theory, which is just this a little area of time where apparently a couple months after she went missing, an old classmate in Las Vegas at a casino spotted her as like a showroom girl. Like she was like, one of those girls with like the machines.
Yeah.
Spotted her, yelled out her name, and she gave her this wide-eyed look and ran away. This other sighting was her. Remember that old father? Like, remember her biological father? He was in Las Vegas, and he could have sworn he spotted her on a crosswalk to the other side of the road. So much he was convinced that he shouted out to her name, but by then, she was already gone. Her own, her biological father and multiple people, and 70 witnesses would come forward, 72 with the other two people I mentioned, would come forward saying that they saw her in Las Vegas in the area. Weird. Months after she went missing.
Right.
But leaving that behind, it's only a theory because it's not totally confirmed, we then arrived to August 2009. A couple months later, where two rangers are in the canyon, in the hills of Calabasas, or in the canyons, and they stumble upon something terrible, or terrifying. They stumble upon a half-preserved human skull on the ground with curly black hair, and then they find a skeleton, a half-preserved skeleton, slumped in this very weird position, half-preserved. They DNA called them to the scene, but here's the weird part. Here's where it really county gets crapped on. Before the coroner even got there, they moved the body. Before the coroner even got there, that's not how protocol is. If a coroner has to be present to move a body, they took it upon themselves, these two deputies, to move this body. They found the body, they moved the body, before the coroner even got there, and they packed everything up. Police are called, they DNA test, it is a confirmed match to Mitrice Richardson.
Wow.
On her teeth of the skull, there's red marks. Collarbones are missing, though. Because the deputies screwed around with the crime scene, they don't know if there's certain bones missing, what position the body was found in. But the head, it's not confirmed that the head was on or off the body. On the ground with curly, they could have tampered with that. They don't know. But the coroner they found this body. It was confirmed to be Mitrice Richardson. But here's what's eerie. Remember what the mother said. Lost somewhere with her head chopped off. They found her. According to these deputies, which we don't know if we can trust though, because they might have tampered with the body before the coroner even got there. They found her with the skull, the skull was off the body. Isn't that creepy? The mother said, that's such a weird joke to make, in the hindsight of everything.
Name again?
Mitrice Richardson.
I was joking.
Oh, yeah, well, just in case. I know her name's a pretty long one.
Yeah.
So, after that, her parents sued the station. LA police gets involved. The coroner has a lot of things to say, how, the deputies tampered with the body. And it's just this big old thing. And it's eventually settled, but the investigation stops there. And that is the end of the case of Mitrice Richardson. What are your thoughts after everything I just told you?
Well, I am wondering what the hell killed her.
Her last sighting was at the back of that house, and that was it. And the article, and they never found clothing, that was packed up, these deputies packed it up, which is, people have said this could have been a trafficking. Or, some sort of police cover-up, because things are just too, it's too...
coincidental.
Yeah. And also, I forgot to mention this, that night when she left the police station, in the front of the building, they have CCTV footage, there was an officer in the back of the building at the very same time that he walked out, at the same time as Mitrice walked out in the front, an officer walked out in the back. In a rush. Almost like he was running, sounded like he was rushing to get somewhere. It's not totally connected, it could have been a coincidence, but that was really weird.
I think it's connected.
Misleadings from the start. Hospital. And when the mother came in there, after, she went missing, she demanded that CCTV footage. They said, oh, no, it's monitor cameras. That was a lie. The footage was obtained. She was clearly in a state of disarray, even in the cell. And they let her go. They let her go. They didn't give a shit less what happened to her. That is just... They think this could have been a cover-up. And there's a lot to, there's something to suggest that. What would your main theory be, though? There's a lot, like, what do you think?
I think one of the police did something, and they tried to cover it up, and they killed her.
Yeah, but who packs a crime scene before a coroner gets there? The coroner also would come out to say, this is the most unprofessional thing he's never seen that happen before, ever, when a deputy took it beyond themselves to pack up a crime scene before a coroner's even there. If that was, you'd be fired for that. You can't do that. This is... It makes headlines across America, around the time, this made headlines. All, America, everyone was, what, county police for Malibu was getting their asses kicked. Asses handed to, by everyone. Everyone was blaming them for... And they had to settle this lawsuit with the station, which two separate lawsuits are filed with the family. And, yeah. It is... So... The aftermath is, and I think her mother's still alive. Her stepfather's still alive. Her biological father's still alive. But her great-grandmother, I don't think she's alive. I think she might have passed away. But yeah.
Wow.
They are, her mother is infuriated. Because had they kept her in the station, had they did their job, if they did they respect their job, they did everything correctly, she would have been here today. If they kept her there, but they didn't keep her there. Oh, and if you're wondering what happened to her car and all that, they were able to obtain the phone and all that, and able to obtain the car. But when her mother saw that everything, she had nothing on her, she, was infuriated. I think that she went to the police station and, just demand, directed, why the hell would why the hell would you let my daughter, why would you let her, leave out her stuff? But yeah. Now, out of the two cases we covered, Mitrice Richardson and Brandon Swanson, which one do you think is more crazier, Mitrice or Brandon?
I'm going to be honest. I feel like it's Brandon, because even though, this is, an entire thing, an actual halt, I still think I find Brandon's more enticing.
Yeah.
Because I never found out what happened to him.
There was closure. Unfortunately, it might be a cover-up closure. It's a pretty crappy closure, but yeah. This case was it was, they said it was handled unprofessional, really, this is just crazy what happened here. And yeah, everyone in the family is they're just all grief-stricken. My daughter could have been alive today if you guys did your job correctly. They didn't keep her, it was just crazy what they were able to find out. But yeah, so that is the case of Mitrice Richardson, everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching. Joe, what'd you think of the case, though?
I thought that was crazy, and I'm gonna go poo-poo.
Yeah, great thing to say on a podcast of true crime. Yeah. All right, guys. So, hopefully you might join us in the future. We'll see. If you are joining us for the next episode, if you are, I have to decide. You're gonna join us for Brandon Lawson. Not to be confused with Brandon Swanson. It's a different Brandon. But that's a case for another day. That's a case for another day. If you're able or not able, we'll have to see. But yeah, guys, let me know if you guys enjoyed Joe being on here. And thank you guys so much for watching the AS&MT Investigates podcast. And let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to on Spotify, because they'll be up on Spotify soon, and everything else. So thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Nick.
And I've been, a special guest, Joe.
And thank you guys so much for watching.